welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Rusty, and this is my channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal. And this is my January collection update video where I show off and talk about for a second probably videos that will be upcoming later because these are new videos that I ordered and received during January. So yeah, I like to do these updates so that I never have to do an entire update again, or I mean so that I never have to do an entire show off again, because yeah, that's a lot. But this seems better. It's like every month anything that I've gotten I can add to it. So as usual, if I can reach it, we're going to start off with music. Now, this month, well, January, this update, was a complete Megadeth month. I literally ordered nothing but Megadeth CDs. A channel that I like called Nick Cooling had been doing a rundown of all of his, he had been rating all of the Megadeth albums, and it reminded me how much I love them, so I drug out my CDs and was listening to them, and then sort of found out that they had remixed and remastered pretty much, you know, a great deal of them, if not all of them. And I was like, oh wow, you know, that's cool. So I ended up going and looking up and finding and buying my favorite Megadeth albums, the remixed and remastered versions. And so yeah, that's all I got this month was Megadeth. So The World Needs a Hero. This is the limited edition with a poster inside and a little slipcase. You know, it has the original artwork. Yep, and it's got a poster and all that kind of stuff. So and it doesn't want to go back in it because it's a slipcase. And we got Euthanasia, which is pretty much my favorite Megadeth album. I really love Euthanasia. And so as you can see, remastered edition, the remixed, remastered edition. Cryptic Writings, the remixed and remastered edition. You see all the jellyfish on my screensaver? But yes. What is it doing? It's like reflecting. Okay. So we got Cryptic Writings, the remixed and remastered. We have Dystopia. That album, this album kicks absolute ass. You understand what I'm saying? So we got Megadeth, Dystopia. And we got Megadeth, The System Has Failed. Yes. So those are all of the remixed and remastered versions. I bought 5 of them. I love Megadeth, of course, and I didn't. It'd just been a while, you know, and I didn't know about the remixed and remastered versions, which a lot of bands do that today, especially if they are older bands that have a big catalog. They go back and remix and remaster them. So, yeah. 5 Megadeth CDs. So, I have been kicking Megadeth ass all over the place for the last month. So now we're going to move on to the movies and stuff, and I want to start off with Sling Blade, the director's cut. Now this was, I sort of traded with the wonderful Miss C, and she sent this to me because she knew I loved this movie, and I had sent her a few movies, and she gave me this, got this for me, because I love Sling Blade, and this is the Director's Cut, extended Director's Cut edition, which I absolutely adore. Okay, a little paranormal movie called An English Haunting. I'm going to try to do this so we can get closer. An English Haunting. Live a lie or die for the truth, whatever that means. So yes, we have an English haunting. It's that blue light I've got back there causing a huge amount of glare. Maisie Williams. The Owners. I wanted this the second that I heard about it. I think it's going to be a really kick-ass movie. Yes. The Owners. Adding a shark movie. I love my ocean horror, and this is one that I did not have. The Reef. I do believe I've seen it. I'm pretty sure I've seen it. But yeah. Pray that you drown first. Dear Mr. Gacy. This is a movie about the guy. It's kind of based, it's fictionalized, but it's kind of based on the story of the boy that he's like a reporter. And he ended up writing and developing a relationship with John Wayne Gacy. And even though the event had not occurred when this movie was made, it's not a documentary or anything. It's just sort of like a dramatized version of it. But the boy actually later on, way after this, but the actual real boy that this was based on, who began writing him, and he ended up committing suicide. That's not in this movie. It's just a dramatization kind of thing. But later on, way after that movie had been released, that boy actually committed suicide. I guess he let John get in his head, you know what I mean? But yeah, this is The Chamber. It's a little tense thriller, as it says. It's sort of like The Abyss, and that they get trapped in a little submersible, and it's a little indie movie that has very, very good ratings, so I wanted it. I love my little British dramas. This is a little crime drama called Sweet 16. And yeah, so I wanted it. See, I'm not all horror. Beastly, which I did a video on already. So yeah, but it came in January, so I really love this movie. People complain that they can't hear me, but yeah, Beastly. A little crime movie, it's kind of like a special superhero, like one of those. There's a movie called Boy Wonder. If you've ever seen, they're not talking about Robin, but I've got it over there somewhere. But I should do a video on it. But it's sort of like a vengeance hero, and this is another one that I heard about in the same type of vein called El Chicano, and it's sort of like Boy Wonder is sort of like the Jodie Foster, the brave one. And so is this. It's like a person who takes on the role of a vengeance superhero type thing, but a little bit more on the superhero type side. and sort of like Daredevil and stuff. But El Chicano. Now, what do we want to do now? Let's move to spaghetti westerns. I love spaghetti westerns, and a little bit about spaghetti western. You know, the genre was created in the early 60s, and back then it had a specific meaning. That meaning has changed. But back then it meant filmed in Italy with an Italian cast, except for the main stars usually, and was filmed by Italian directors who made westerns. And so they called them spaghetti westerns because they were Italian directors who made them. Now, it didn't take long. By 1970, the genre name had taken on a new meaning, and that was that spaghetti westerns were so popular, you know, because of like the Blondie series, you know, Fistful of Dollars and The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. They were so popular that other people outside of Italy, Italian directors, began making them with the same formula. And that is when the definition of spaghetti western changed to mean a certain type of western that had certain elements to it, usually anti-heroes instead of pure heroes, lots more blood, lots more gore, sex, nudity, things like that that weren't found in traditional John Wayne movies, you know what I mean? So you have these traditional westerns, and then you have spaghetti westerns. I love spaghetti westerns. It's my favorite. And even today, and believe it or not, they are still making spaghetti westerns. Every once in a while, a big director or a famous you know, producer or something will make one, and it will make people realize that they still exist. Quentin Tarantino did it recently with Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight, which was his ode to spaghetti westerns. And then people were like, oh God, yes, I forgot that genre. Well, they still make them. They make them. There's many released every year. You just don't hear about it, but I do because I love spaghetti westerns. So I got a few. Kill or Be Killed, which has sort of got like a paranormal theme to it as well. It's kind of a little bit horror. The West and the Ruthless. Modern day spaghetti westerns. Dwight Yoakam, that country star, he's in a lot of spaghetti westerns. Oh, one of my favorites. In a Valley of Violence, Ethan Hawke and John Travolta spaghetti westerns, they are both so fucking good in this movie. I love this movie. It is silly and yet cool and yet bloody. It's like a slasher almost. If you've not seen it, there's like oh yeah, like the anyway, yeah, there's like slasher elements to this movie. But in a valley of violence, John Travolta and Ethan Hawke. Ned Kelly, that's an Australian. That's the Australian hero. I consider him a hero. Ned Kelly, this is, you know, Heath Ledger and Naomi Watts and Orlando Bloom back when they were babies. But I finally got around to getting it. And this is a spaghetti western called Justice. So yeah, as you see, the spaghetti western genre is alive and well. I'm ordering spaghetti westerns all the time when new ones are released. I just ordered one called Western Religion. And it's supposed to be pretty wild, and there's quite a few others that are on this. So yeah, spaghetti westerns, they're still released all the time. Helen Mirren, Eye in the Sky. Sort of like a war movie, or set in a military atmosphere. Anybody can tell you that I am a gigantic fan of Helen Mirren. Promising Young Woman. I already did a video for that. Miss C told me about this movie. I loved it, and I have already made a video on it. If you haven't seen it, the video or the movie, you should. I'm beginning to replace my Star Trek collection. I have all of the original. My camera wants to fade in and out because I keep putting stuff up close to it. I should stop doing that. But Star Trek First Contact, I'm going to replace them all with Blu-rays. I have the original out of print double disc set of all of the movies, all of the original movies. So now I want to replace them with Blu-ray, but I won't get rid of them. They're too expensive. Ethan Hawke, 10,000 Saints. I love the storyline of this movie. So yeah. I love him, he's such a cutie. And I love him, he's such a cutie. Scarlett Johansson, Under the Skin. This is a very strange movie, but I love it. It's a very strange movie that I love, but she is wonderful in it, and it's definitely one of those that leaves you going, what the fuck? Let me think about this for a minute. What's going on? What did I watch? What went on? I don't know. I heard about this, God Bless America. The little girl and the guy who kind of, they're both like little antisocial outcast misfits, and they hook up and go on a Thelma and Louise type spree across America, killing all the people who deserve it. So I'm like, yeah, that sounds right up my alley. I can deal with that. Judd Nelson movie called Dead Water. Casper Van Dien and Judd Nelson. I guess it's like wants to be Dead Calm, if you know the Nicole Kidman Sam Neill movie Dead Calm, which is one of the most fantastic movies. I think it probably wants to be a little something like that, but we'll see. But it was the previews and the synopsis were acceptable to me. I want it. Continuing to replace my favorite Tom Cruise movies as well on Blu-ray. Got Born on the 4th of July. I love this movie. Tom Cruise is amazing in this movie. The movie itself is amazing, and it's definitely one that I wanted to replace. I've got the DVDs, of course, of all of these, but I wanted to replace them with Blu-rays, my favorite ones anyway. And Born on the 4th of July, Tom Cruise. I want to replace the Underworld series on Blu-ray. I like to replace stuff that I think is going to look beautiful on Blu-ray, stuff that I really love, and I definitely want the Underworld series on Blu-ray. So I got the unrated Underworld Blu-ray to begin replacing those. I liked them all. I even like Blood Wars. And we have Bad Ronald, which I've already done a video on. One of my favorite movies ever. I paid out the Wachuchu for that, but that's okay. It was worth every penny. The transfer is one of the most beautiful, amazing transfers I've ever seen in my life. The remaster of this thing, which was taken from the original negative, oh my god, the picture is beautiful. But you can go watch the video and see me prattle on about how great it was. Oh, what's this? A little side note. I wanted the Jarhead series, so I got Jarhead. I do like my war movies. And Jarhead 2, unrated. And the fourth one, Jarhead Law of Return. So I got all three of the Jarhead movies. The reason that I don't have number 3 sitting here is because I had to reorder it because the person died or something. And this is where I'll take a little side road because, I had never thought about what happens to people that you see. You don't know them, but you see them. They're in your Facebook friends. If you're one of those, that that you don't know them personally, but you're like Facebook friends, or they're sellers on Amazon, or you're on your Steam wish list. I mean Steam friends list, or Reddit, or anything like that, right? Have you ever thought that people die, and they just what? You don't know. You don't know them. They just disappear. And it's kind of sad to think about it that way. Some channel that you're sub to, and the last video they made was 3 years ago, and you have no idea that they were killed in a car wreck or something. It's kind of weird to think about, but this made me think about it because the guy that I bought Jarhead Tree from, brand new, he had 100% positive feedback. Had his picture, had been an eBay seller for a long time, had 100% positive feedback, and didn't have a second thought. I bought it from him. It never showed up. I ended up like writing him a couple of times, going, you know, and nothing. So I had to go to eBay, which eBay is phenomenal about, as long as you're a legit person, they'll take care of the matter quickly. So I went to them and said, hey, tried to contact this guy a couple times, have heard nothing. I want my movie, or I want my money. And so I think it was just like 48 hours they had wrote me back going, nobody provided us tracking, here's your money back. And that's always been my experience with eBay. It's why I love them. I don't know, other people have different experiences, but so I went and looked at his profile. I went and looked at his seller page, and I noticed that he had a huge amount of buyer feedback, as him as the buyer, and he had a huge amount of seller. So he had a lot of feedback, 100% positive. Great buyer, fast payment, and as a seller, it was all arrived, beautiful, just as described, fast shipping. So he had this wonderful thing, and yet that's when I noticed that the last feedback he received as anything was January 2020. And that made you kind of stop and go, wait a second, I didn't notice that, which is why now I look at people's feedback to make sure they're still active. But, he had a huge amount of feedback, and the last feedback was, wonderful seller, arrived, beautiful, fast shipping, just as described, and it was January 2020. And that made me go, something happened to him. You don't just vanish like that. And you certainly don't vanish and leave listings up. So anything that he had listed is just going to stay that way until someone notifies eBay, and eBay either freezes his account or someone comes in and closes it or something like that. So it kind of made me a little sad because he looked like a nice guy. He had a picture on his profile. He looked like a nice guy, and he had been doing business on eBay for years, and now it just stopped. It just stopped. And with the pandemic, you know what I mean? I was just like, something happened to him. Car wreck, the pandemic. But, it just made me think about all of the people on your friends list, your Steam list, your Facebook list, your subs, channels you're sub to. What happens when something bad happens to them? They just stop posting one day. You just never see them again. And just like him, as the seller and buyer on eBay, he has not bought or sold anything, gotten no feedback since January 2020, which means something happened to him. Just like if a bunch of channels you may be subscribed to and you go and there's no activity in 2 years or something like that, So yeah, that was kind of sad. It was a little side note because I'd never thought about it. But yeah, so I guess Jarhead 3 will be in my February update because I had to reorder it, and it should either be in the mailbox now or coming shortly. So yeah, that was Jarheads. Got all the Jarheads. One of my rare purchases, a comedy. I'm not big on comedy unless it's British comedy, so it's kind of rare for me to buy comedies. I've got some, but I bought this comedy. It's called Role Models, unrated. Like I said, I don't buy a lot of comedies, but that sounded funny and it looked funny. So yeah, Beach Rats, which is a little romance kind of movie. We'll just leave it at that. It's not porn or anything. Look, it's got a Rotten Tomatoes thing on it. But it's a little drama. And yeah, I've wanted it for a while. Liam Neeson in The Grey. I'm an alright Neeson fan. I'm not crazy about him. But I like a lot of his movies. And I heard me brother told me that this was pretty good. So, yeah, we shall see. Liam Neeson in The Grey. I finally got around to getting Cabin in the Woods. I've actually never seen it. I don't, I know it's very popular and I know it's got a huge following, but I have never seen it. It's just one of those that I never got around to seeing. And now I have the Blu-ray, so I finally got around to picking it up. And I'll get to see what all of the, whether it's good or not. And finally, I love little movies like this. And this is a newer movie called Assassination Nation. It says that it's like a cross between Mean Girls meets The Purge, which sounds pretty cool to me. I liked the trailer. I liked the story synopsis. So yeah, I think I'll like it. Assassination Nation. And there you have it. Not quite as big and long as my Christmas one because it was Christmas, yeah? So my December one was pretty huge. That is my January one, and I will see you in the next video. I'm so glad that you take your time to let me show off my stuff with you. And as I've always said, you're a very, very special person. And no matter what anyone is saying to you, doing to you, what the world is saying or doing to you, there's only one of you. And that's you. And you should be very proud of that. And you should take every opportunity you can to shout your uniqueness to the world and be the only one of you. Don't follow fads. Don't shave your head and grow a poodle's ass beard, please. But love you very much. So glad that you could take the time to check out my new stuff for January, and I will see you in the next video. I've been slacking on music, and that is because the weather is just keeping me too sick. I can't sing and I can't rock. It's too cold for rock and roll. I don't know what to tell you. I'm a poet. It's too cold to rock and roll. I'd had to rhyme, but I will get back to music. I keep wanting to, and then I'm like, I can't breathe. This weather's killing me. But in any event, I will see you in the next video. Love you, miss you, bye. Keep rocking hard and stay scary. Keep screaming, but only when appropriate. Because like if you scream when it's not appropriate, like in the middle of Walmart, you might find yourself sectioned for a few days in a little room to rest. So I'll see you in the next video. Love you, miss you, bye. So long.